but not least is Mark Rutterford. Mark writes and performs short stories, and it's been a long year without much of that adrenaline rush. So he's written some more stories, a lockdown carol, and a play. But what's next? A collection? A novel? A collection? A novel? Take it away, Mark.
Thank you. This is a sign. She was always walking her dog in the bottom field. I told her, "You'll have to stop walking here when the barley starts to come up." "When's that then?" she asked, adding with a hint of mischief, "I wouldn't want to get into trouble with you, Tom." She laughed, and it disarmed me, as it had since we were at school. Hannah kept her word, but until then, day after day in February and March, she and her black Labrador were part of that landscape. I don't think of it as mine, although it's my name on the deeds since Mum and Dad retired. I'm just a temporary custodian of these fields until another generation comes along. I wondered if that would happen for me. Farming is demanding and unsociable, and meeting someone is hard. It takes a lot of love to settle down with a farmer. We're not that easy a breed. Hannah and I had been an item when we were 16, 17. I went to agricultural college and she went to uni, then stayed in Manchester for a few years. She'd been back about a year when we had the chat about the barley field. We knew each other from growing up, from being in love, from teenage sex to teenage breakup. We weren't shy with each other, nor flirting when we met in the fields, in the village, in the pub. We were mates, or so I thought. Hannah asked questions I didn't want to answer. Are you with anyone? Are you looking for someone? How do you think you'll meet anyone here? Are you making enough effort? What are you waiting for? Oh, I don't know, I said. Maybe I trust in nature. Maybe she'll give me a sign. Hannah frowned and said in all the years of knowing me, that was the single most stupid thing she'd ever heard me say. So what about you? I retaliated. You're living like an old maid, walking your dog all the time in those skanky old dog walking trousers of yours. You're fit, you know, you should be dating, swiping, shagging. She went off on one then. I'm not one of your heifers, you know, she said. I'm not waiting for a bull to come along to knock me up or whatever you call it, service me. And those are my favourite trousers. They have hidden depths, and anyway, she stopped then. Me and my trousers have got our eye on someone. Glad to hear it, I said, not meaning it at all. Was there a compliment in there? She asked. I don't think so, I said, but I'm sure you'll be mounted in no time at all. And we laughed so loud, half the pub was looking at us. We had a running joke for months, Hannah teasing me about going on Tinder and me calling her a scarecrow. In the absence of opportunity or commitment to improve our romantic lives, we were mates, Hannah and I, far from exclusive, not at all possessive, but spending time together when the job list allowed. In June, after another barrage of questions, I asked Hannah about the chap she had her eye on. Don't lecture me, I said. Do something, slow coach. Her response was enigmatic. I have done something. I've planted the seed and I'm letting it grow. I don't want to frighten him away. I think he's scared of getting involved, so I'll give it a couple more months. A couple of months later was August, and the barley was almost ready to be cut. There were poppies in the barley field, at least a big clump of them in the middle. There had never been poppies there before. Maybe I'd ploughed a bit deeper than Dad. It was also my birthday. Leo the Oaf, Hannah assured me. Hannah had called in a favour with a friend of hers from Manchester who was an aerial photographer. He was going to take some shots to sell photos to proud house owners, and we would get a sky-high view of the village and the farm. And for some stupid reason, Hannah insisted on giving me a wrapped-up present whilst we were flying. We were midway between airfield and home when Hannah said I should open the gift. I ripped the paper to find an item of clothing that was distinctly second-hand and not my size. "It's your skanky dog-walking trousers," I shouted above the noise. "You've not even washed them." Hannah shouted back, "Check the pockets." I found that both the front pockets had been cut away, so you could put your hand right through them and down the leg. I was confused. "Hold your hand out," Hannah yelled. Then she put a sprinkling of black seeds in my palm. "You were waiting for nature to give you a sign," she said. "Well, maybe she did." And Hannah pointed out of the window and down to the farm. I could make out the house and the barn and the field of barley below. Where Hannah had walked her dog for all those weeks, I could see the poppies, dense and vibrant, in a pattern, in a shape, in the shape of a heart. Hannah says it was a scene from The Great Escape that gave her the idea when the prisoners were trying to scatter the earth they dug up across the camp by letting it out from their trouser legs. Each walk with the dog allowed another handful of poppy seeds to be dispersed. And even though I'd walk by most days and stop for a chat, I never had a clue that this was the seed Hannah was planting. Hannah says Tom was the name of one of the tunnels, deep but dark and empty, much like me. I keep threatening to sue her for vandalism, except the picture hangs on our wall, and it was 23 years, 4 children, 3 dogs, and a lot of cows ago.